What up? My name is Doughboy, and I live with addiction. I'm originally from Sacramento, California. I have been living in Los Angeles. It will make 10 years on October 10th. I was a cast member on Wild 'N Out for 4 seasons. I was the head writer at All Dev Digital and one of the main on-screen talents. I am one half of the wildly popular podcast Righteous and Ratchet with my good friend Kev on Stage. Yeah, I just be working, man. Just be out here trying to, do my thing, have fun, make people laugh, and bring joy to people. My childhood was structured and traumatic at the same time. So basically, I grew up in an environment where I had a father who suffered from some mental illness things and also from alcoholism. But I also had like a lot of structure from my father and my mother as well, with going to church every week. So yeah, my childhood, it was kind of sheltered, but it was kind of traumatic at the same time. I actually was picked on a lot. I was overweight, so I kind of started to use my sense of humor as my defense mechanism. So a lot of that, kind of was counterproductive a little bit too, because I was funny and witty enough to kind of crack jokes on people, but then it also kind of, you turn the gun on yourself metaphorically, and then it becomes all these, jokes that you're making about yourself to kind of circumvent people from making those jokes on you first, which can kind of lead into, insecurity and low self-esteem. So my first time in dealing with addiction, that's actually like a two-pronged question for me, actually, because in getting to the bottom of my alcoholism, I realized that I had a food addiction. I can honestly say the first time I knew that I had a problem with food was really, really young. I was maybe like in the 6th grade, and I just remember talking to my dad, and I remember we were at some breakfast for some things. So fast, my dad was just like, why are you eating so fast? And I was just like, I want to hurry up and burp. And he was like, why do you want to burp? I was like, so I can eat more. And I remember he just looked at me and he was just like, oh, you have a problem. Like, I remember him saying that to me, and I remember just kind of stopping and thinking like, yeah, man, like, why am I eating like this? So I think that was my first example of knowing that I had an addiction to food. I didn't start drinking until I was 30 and I moved to Los Angeles. And by the time I realized it, I was really far into it. But I think the first time I realized it is when I tried to stop drinking for 3 days and I couldn't. The thing about alcoholism, I knew it ran in my family for years. That's why I never drank. I seen what it did. I seen it destruct some people. My father was an alcoholic, and it was really, really prevalent in my father. My natural grandfather died from cirrhosis of the liver. The time that I realized that I couldn't control it, I think was right around the first time that I went to rehab, because I had gotten drunk, and I would always get drunk and say and do things that I wasn't proud of, but it was always usually a conversation could fix, like, oh man, I was just drinking, and then whoever the person, oh man, I understand. But sometimes, it wasn't. But in this particular situation, I remember getting drunk. It was just a regular get drunk night, because at this time I was just drinking every night. And then I'm just saying the bits and pieces that I remember. I remember going into the bathroom to use it, and then I remember stumbling a little bit, but I don't remember all of it. Long story short, I had fell into the toilet, hit the toilet so hard the toilet comes out of the ground. And then apparently I had cleaned up the whole bathroom, left the toilet on the ground, and then went and laid in the bed. And then I woke up, and it was the thing that scared me most was what I didn't remember. Like, I didn't remember so much about the night. And then it made me feel like if I would have fallen to the left or to the right, I could have cracked my whole face open. I could have suffocated in this toilet. I could have just died a horrible death of an alcoholic. So that was the moment then where I was just like, this is becoming a little bit much. So then that's the time that I went and I said, I'm gonna go to rehab and stand up to this problem. Funny thing about going into rehab, though, I'm there for 2 weeks and they get raided by the FBI. So I take that as a sign from God. Oh, I'm supposed to keep drinking. So I think that's just an alcoholic's way to think about things. So then I came home and then became 10 times worse. I can say the rock bottom part that I absolutely hit was, so I go to rehab that first time and I go through, it was a waste of everybody's time. I didn't learn anything. So then I come home and I'm drinking probably twice as much. And that's actually a thing that I learned about this disease as well, is that sometimes when you stop for a certain amount of time, when you start back, the ramifications can be fatal. People have lost their lives trying to stop on their own. And then like you have to really be around trained professionals. It's really a very deeper disease than what it looks. But in any event, so I come home and now I'm drinking and it's hitting me 10 times harder because I took 2 weeks off. Now it's really, I'm getting slammed every day. So everything was going, I was ruining my life. And then somebody introduced me to Xanax. Now this was the thing, like I don't ever take pills. I don't even take aspirin to this day. I just never really trusted European medicine like that. I don't know why, maybe I'm crazy, but just never really trusted it. I don't like taking pills. So, but anyway, this person had introduced me to Xanax, and it wasn't even for recreational use. It was just for, hey, if you ever need to sleep, maybe take a Xanax, da-da-da. So I remember taking one, not drinking or anything, and getting some of the best sleep that I had ever gotten. More, they gave me like 7 or 8 pills. Like, hey, well, if you ever need to go to sleep, take one of these on some wholly responsible stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. A week or 2 later, I'm stressed out about some things and I'm drunk. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go to sleep. I got those pills. Apparently you're not supposed to mix pills and alcohol. So I thought it was a good idea to drink 2/5 of Hennessy and take like 5 or 6 Xanax pills. Almost overdosed. And so like that whole weekend before I went to rehab, apparently I was just walking around with the lights on and nobody was home. Like I don't remember anything. Apparently I was arguing with people at Denny's. I don't remember none of it. So that really scared me. But the rock bottom part came when I actually went to rehab, and I remember laying on the bed. It was my first day in detox, and I was faking like I was asleep, and then 2 nurses came in the room and they were talking, and then they were talking, and she was like, girl, did you see his chart? Did you see how much Xanax he had in his system? Like, he might not, we're gonna have to keep checking his vitals. They might have to send him over to the ER. He might not make it. And it was at that moment that I was just like, so that was probably the worst and the best moment of my life in the same moment, because it was like I realized the severity of the problem. I finally was accountable and stopped running from it. I finally was honest about it, and I was ready to take whatever it took. And then I just kind of took it with a realistic approach. That was my changing moment on November 22nd, 2017. First day of rehab. Spirituality actually played probably like a 99% role in it, just because I had to leave it all to my higher power, which is God, which is Jesus Christ. And I had to just be honest and just kind of leave it there. And then kind of when I was able to do that, and cause like I said, I always grew up in church, and I never really seen the physical manifestation of God until this situation. I never seen it, let me correct that. I never seen it that prevalently. You know, so at that time, I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to beat this. Anthony Dwight Belcher Jr. is going to lose and is going to die, and is going to be a troubled, cautionary tale of what can happen if you do things the wrong way. And so then when I prayed to God about it, God was just like, I got you. And I kind of felt like that was the defining moment in my life, because I kind of felt like I had never done that. As far as important relationships in my life that I have at this moment, I think the number one is with my daughter, Kiara Janae. That's my little girl. She's 13 years old, going on 36. She just kind of keeps me grounded. She's very honest with me. She's my motivation to get out here, get this money so we can pay for her college. Kevin is definitely a very, very important relationship. It's my best friend. Growing up, I always wanted a brother. Never had one, but God saw fit to give me one later in life. And Kevin, he just always keeps me accountable, and just a very, very positive influence in my life. My other best friend, Justin Russell, the guy who encouraged me to actually start doing comedy. Grew up with him since I was 6 years old. So I would say those are probably the 3 most important relationships that I have. I would say out of all of those 3 relationships, the one that probably assisted the most in me staying sober was with Kevin. He was just always a non-judgmental presence in my life. You know, when I came home, he was just like, man, what can I do to help? Basically what he did was, I would send him a text every morning with a ski emoji and the number of sobriety days that I had. So, be like a ski emoji in 21 days. And he would respond every morning. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It was just something as simple as that. Now that I have committed to my sobriety, the thing that I'm most grateful for is the grace of the people that still rock with me. Because everybody don't. You get to a situation where, you drunk and you say and do stuff. Everybody don't want to hear it. Everybody not finna be cool with you. Everybody not finna just turn the other cheek. So anybody that was able to stick by me through that, through those embarrassing times where I, made myself and my family look stupid, when I said and did things that I, couldn't go back and fix. Anybody that was still like, you know what, you was trash for that, but I still love you. Like that, just if we're cool on that level, those people just have more credit in my store than anybody else, because, now I know it's you don't have to be cool with me. Like, what I mean? You are very well within your rights to not rock with me for whatever I said or whatever I did when I was drunk. So I just am appreciative of the second opportunity to right my wrongs. Feels great. If I could speak to anybody that is dealing with addiction, I would just look at you first and just say, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. I know that you can't see that right now. I know that you might be drunk as you're watching this. I totally get it. The thing is that it can change if you would like it to change. You have entirely way more control over your life than you may be giving yourself credit for. God loves you. You're gonna be okay. You didn't get like this overnight, so it can't be fixed overnight. So just focus on one day. I know that that's like the alcoholic slogan, just taking it one day at a time. I broke it down even further than that. Take it 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. I personally believe in you. I know that you'll be fine. You just got to believe in you now. To the people around the alcoholic, stop judging people. You really don't understand that a lot of times the people that are in these situations go deeper and deeper because the people that are closest to them. Stop having conversations with people about alcohol if you yourself have not personally dealt with it. It comes off as a very judgmental conversation. People will shut down and not want to hear you. This is a disease of the mind. It's not something that people have a choice with. It is clinically registered as a disease. So if you're dealing with some people and you know them and you know they're dealing with some stuff, have some compassion in your heart, because they could really use it. Join the conversation at ourblackdoescrack.com.